Hello traders, John at StockBookie.com. Today we're going to look at the SPY, the IWM, the Qs, the DIA, the IYT, and the USO. Let's get right into the daily, weekly, monthly time frames, and we use technical analysis here at StockBookie.com. What a day on Wall Street. Let's get into the 10-minute really quick. They gap it up, pull it back, bring it back up to the highs, gap fill. We short up here, boom, cover at the 50 MA. Still goes down, nice little inside bar, but around lunchtime, so I'm not going to short. Comes in nicely though at the end. Shorts are covering. If you shorted up in here and you held all day, you're starting to cover. Maybe a little buy program came in, pushed it to the 50, and they saved the day by closing it above the low of yesterday. Daily chart kind of tells the story here why this thing bounced and what's going on here. We had 116 million on the day. Volume's not bad, but when we were starting to flush, we came right into this gap fill and the 618 Fibonacci. You have to expect the bounce. But as a day trader or scalp trader, I just can't take that trade. After seeing, a slacking like this, I just can't get in front of a freight train. We did have nice consolidation, another move down, but right here, this bar kind of scared me. But you know what? Gap fill held, and then boom, right back up. When you start selling like this, you might see lower prices. So I just didn't do it again. I had 3 good scalp trades today on the SPY, and I took the money and ran. So again, we're below the MA. We're looking for a close. Now I think we're looking for a close below like the 216.32 area. And I think we're downtown here to 214.27. And then we're going to start filling these gaps in these areas down here, which is, this is forward thinking. But, there's a gap here, there's a gap there, and then ultimately a gap there, and then double bottom, of course. But we'll have to play this out, see. Got to see how it reacts when it hits the 50 MA, sets up sideways, and I think we'll start heading down. Let's go. Do we look at the weekly? Nope. Weekly, same thing. Whatever, how many, 7, 8, 9 bars up, a little doji, a little spinner. Now we had a little bit of a little bit of selling. I would like to see a close below the 217 area. They popped it up at the end of the day and saved it, but nice. Look at this. Why aren't we continuing up like this one here? It's just getting tired. We're consolidating, but on no volume. So I'm thinking we're making a rounded top here till we get below the 217 area. If we crack, we're going to go down to this fake print, which is around 214.25. I talked about that one today. Then ultimately we're going to go back into the 210, 211 area or the 20 MA, and then we'll reevaluate, see if this sets up to possibly go lower. Honestly, it could go higher, but at this point, I'm more on the bearish side. Same thing with the monthly chart, bigger time frame. We're going to know what the close is on Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever the end of the month is. And we're going to take a look and see if this thing can close above this big green candle or it closes, below the top. If it closes above it, then it's more slightly bullish on a monthly time frame. But right now we have a nice doji candle, which could mean possibly a reversal. Let's get right into the Qs. Qs were positive today. It was magnificent. But same pattern, same stuff. Daily chart. Did they close it? Oh my gosh, that's why it was green. So 116.73. Yep, they closed it about 5 cents above the moving average. That's exactly what they needed to do. Again, though, down sideways, starting an inside bar, bearish pattern. We need to start heading down. But again, we filled this window. We almost came into the 618 retrace. You'd expect to bounce on this at the end of the day as well. They came in and saved it and got it above that 200. I've been talking about getting it above these 20-day moving averages forever on all time frames, but now they're starting to crack. It's here we're still below the 200, and here we're below the 50 and the 20. So it's getting a little bit weak, but there's still not enough data for me to say, hey, this is a full-on short, but I am bearish. Weekly, same thing, kind of stalling out. You had a little bit of a doji spinner. This time I would have loved to have seen a close below that. We didn't get it, but it was right on the week, so I'll take everything we can get. Again, we're waiting for the monthly close. We want to be above the 116 area. Right now we're at 116.78, so we're still about 85 cents away because ultimately the number is 115.90 or so. That's the Qs. The IWM. IWM was, actually it was the weak horse, and then it came roaring back with the rest of them. But again, if you were shorting up in this area, you're going to cover down in here. For us, we would have started covering right here because of all the MAs and all the support, and then especially at gap fill. But when this thing starts to dump, it's ugly. And kind of had a little tail here, a little bit of a retrace on an inside bar. And then as a scalp trader, I would take this any other time of the day other than, you know, going 40 minutes into the close, because look what they did. And it was typical. If you're a scalp trader looking at inside bars, the 20 moving average, the top here, you have to take that trade unless it's towards the end of the day. So you just let it go and not worry about it. Let's go to the well, the daily. Daily, same thing, still above the moving averages, trying to get below. We came back up and just kind of doing nothing again. You know, just a boring market. This one had a little more volume as well. Weekly, same thing. Almost a topping tail, didn't get it, but still, I want to see some continuation here, especially now. We can't get above this little pivot right here around 124.50, or actually 124.46, and we're having some problems here. I want to see it close above that on the weekly basis, and I'll start to get a little more bullish. And we did close below the 123.43 area. We've been talking about that on the monthly basis, but as well as the weekly basis as well. So that's catching my eye too. Again, like I've been telling everyone, this one is weak. It's still lagging, not at the all-time highs. Everything else is moving up. But what I see here, you're going to get the SPY and the Qs probably start to sell, and then this one will come along with it. But this one, you know, overall the markets are still strong. Light volume's helping it. If we get heavier volume in the next week or two, we might have a different story. IYT. And we'll go into the DIA next. Same thing, the IYT down 73 cents. This one cannot get going. And wow, we're closed below the 20 MA now. Remember, we're talking, as long as this thing stays above the 20 MA, we're still slightly bullish. Now we close below. So next step is get below this, then get below that. This nice little pivot, you have a gap fill. If we could crack that, we're on. Weekly chart, same thing. We have an inside bar bullish pattern, but it kind of came in. Now it's going bearish. Looking for it to stay above the two moving averages, the 20 and the 50. If we get below that, we're going to fast track down. Monthly chart, you can see it a little bit better. As long as we're below this 20 MA and this thing's curling down in the price, we can't get above the 750 retrace. We're heading right back down to 130.80. This area in here cracks with the trend line, the moving average, and the 618. Or actually, it's a 382. Here's the 618 down here. This is where we're going. 107.93. But we'll have a pivot here around 115. So there'll be some stops. This is the monthly. So, but this inside bar, if this closes below the 132.96 right here, it's not going to be good. You know, so there's big support here. If this support can't hold up, not good. And again, IYT lagging, not good as well. DIA. DIA was down 55 cents on the daily. Yeah, see, look at this one. This one's getting ugly. The big money banks are heavy short the Dow Jones right now. This could be the one that starts leading the way down. Still have to see, but right at this point, we confirmed underneath the 20 moving average. Next stop will be these double bottoms around 182.33 and the 50. If they gap this thing down and this keeps going, you better tighten those stops, especially if you're long. You have a gap fill right in here. You know, you have a bunch of gap fills. I mean, look at this thing. Gap up, gap up, gap up, gap up. You have a bunch of gap fills, but like I said, if we get below this 50 on another pattern, we're going right to 175.29. We're going to fill this gap, and I think we're filling this gap here. Still early to tell, but let me, you know, when you're coming up and then coming up again, and actually it could actually pop up one more time. We can have a little head and shoulder pattern here. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Weekly, same thing, just bullish pattern. You know, if you want to stay bullish, you'd have to stay up in this range here or possibly close above this high and continue going. But right now we had a little ugly reversal on the weekly. And all we need is one more day of follow through, but 382, gap fill, 20 MA, we'll have some really good support. If that cracks, then we know something else is going on here. We're looking for a close above this 183.37 area or the all-time high, which is the 186.87 area. Didn't quite do it. Monthly chart, so we have to wait a couple more days. And I want to see a close above this green candle. When this clicks over and the next candle comes up, then I want to see a close above this candle and then confirm and keep going. And I want to see more volume than this. I mean, look at this. The volume just disappeared. It's pretty lame, actually. So that's the Dow. Let's get into the oil trade, the USO. Same thing. I mean, this was flat. I'm surprised it didn't move that much more. You know, it did a little bit intraday. You know, we had the bounce here, and then it came right back in. Inside bar starts to come down. But on the daily, really nothing to do. We're on an inside bar. We had a nice move up. All the bulls came out here to try to get this thing a little bit higher. We came into this big red bar. You're going to get selling pressure right here. Whoever bought here got left holding the bag, came back up, and they're just like, you know what, I'm done. Get me out of this trade. So it pulls back, inside bar and an inside bar. They tried popping it above on this level. Never. I mean, they almost had it. Pulled right back. Inside bar bearish. Looking for a close below the 50, the 200, and the 20. The 20 is curling up, so this will be interesting if this just cracks through. I'm still saying it's going to go to 978, 976 area. I'll show you the bigger time frame. This one, the only thing that I noticed that we're below the moving averages now, so this is slightly bearish again. We retrace back into the 618. Now we're pulling back. This is the weekly, so it closed today, so a little bit more bearish on here. We'll wait for some more action next week. Monthly chart, same thing. Came down, little tail, came back up. Now it's just chopping around, but I believe it's chopping around in a bearish pattern until we get above this 1242 area and try to make a run for the 20 MA. This thing's going down. And my target on the downside, 646 on the USL. I know your heads are popping off, but that's okay. But overall, guys, market's out of control. You have the FANG stocks going green. You have USO or the oil doing nothing. You have Exxon coming in. You have Apple that can't get out of its way. JPM somewhat strong because it's JPM. You have the ones like the IWMs and the IYTs not leading. You had that big bust down on the IBB or the bios yesterday, or 2 days ago. And I don't even care if history made, or Hillary opened her mouth or whatever. They were due to pull back, period. So be really, really careful in these markets. It's just like in the middle of the day today when this thing started going down, there's no stopping it. When there's sellers coming in, they stopped selling right at noon because they were going to lunch, lunchtime on Wall Street, like I always say. But we had a nice bounce going up, and then they started selling again. So it's going to be interesting the next couple weeks to come. So everyone, thanks for watching my videos. God bless. See you on the charts.